Hey everyone, thank y'all for joining us for our Beef Brunch news update for Tuesday, April 2nd. I'm just going to apologize to start off. I'm having a Monday. I guess it's an April Fool's Monday, and I'm already not working my computer properly. So it's good to be with y'all. It's been nice sunny weather. I think over the weekend we all experienced pretty good weather, and it's looking pretty good going into the week. I think north part of the state might get a little bit of rain tomorrow, a tiny bit, and then looking into the weekend, maybe a little bit more there. So I'm going to go ahead and swap it over and let Vince give our region, our central region, excuse me, update. Brittany is on leave this week, so Vince gets it all to himself.
Thank you, Ashley. And yeah, it's we had nice sunshiny weather on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in central part of the state and south. But cloud cover took us over on Sunday for the most part, and again today, expecting some change in weather with this front coming through and down in the 40s again for our part area. Late part of the week, I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it just, we have a lot of crop in the southern, central, and southern part of the state. And here we are in, early April, and we need some sunshine and some warmer temperature and get some heat units going for, what corn and rice is two critical crops for us, and sugarcane, subtropical type plants. So we need to get some sunshine and some things going in the cropping area. But as far as the cattle pastures, we've said this the last few weeks. It's a stark, drastic difference in what we experienced through the summer and fall. Man, we've got green out there. We're covered in a sea of yellow with buttercups, but there's a lot of good grazing out there as far as ryegrass that was planted. A lot of volunteer ryegrass. I had a visitor stop by my farm yesterday, and he said we've just had an abundance of volunteer ryegrass this year, which has made it an easy transition from winter to spring. People that thought they were going to be short on hay and have some excess of hay in some areas, not a lot, but it changed drastically. A lot of hay a lot of hay on the mind right now. People just and my strong word of suggestion is keep what hay you need, and the first cut stuff, because we all know that our earlier cut hay is in most cases more quality. It may not look as pure and as good as Bahia and Bermuda grass is cut, midsummer to late summer into the fall, as we can have some options on maybe some herbicide treatments that might clean some things up for us. But oftentimes you got that volunteer ryegrass and some native clovers. There's a lot of native clover in our part of the world, Alexandria and South. We have a lot of Persian clover and a lot of ball clovers on some mixed ground. We have quite a bit of changing soils amongst our waterways, and it's pretty heavy on producing clover. So keep that first production of hay that you might get out the field. There's some people that talked to a few people that have wrapped some ryegrass hay here recently, which is always a beneficial feeding source as we move forward into the summer months. If you're going to have some yearlings or replacements that you're wanting to feed and save a few dollars and keeping off the concentrates, try to. Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of those pieces of equipment local to us. Maybe in the northern part of the state where Tripp and Lee are. I mean, that might be a more common thing. But I think it's taken off here in the central and southern part of the state. If people can get their hands on some of the equipment, some equipment dealers may have some of that available for rental. So you may want to consider that. I'm sure Lee's going to cover the calf prices, but by golly, the cattle prices are still high at the barns, local auction barns, and I don't know where the cattle numbers are coming from, but they're still having reasonably good numbers as far as their number of cattle in their regular run sales. Quite a few consignment sales and stuff coming up. Has been some special sales that the markets are high. Bulls, cows, and we had locally the Louisiana Brahman Association sale where they have a good number of high quality tiger stripes and black F1s, Brangus type F1s that are in that sale, and some of those sales top $4,000 for some pairs. So, but all that being said, it's all relative, and I think the cow calf producer can relate to that. I mean, it generally an old standard that I've always been taught. It takes 2.5 calves to recoup your investment into a cow. That's not saying what it's going to cost you to keep her, but it's going to be what the initial cost is, 2.5 calves. And if you stop and pencil it out, you give the right nutrition and give the right environment for that cow-calf pair. If there's people are buying these, and Lee has said it all along that, these bred cows, as we moved into these higher markets, was still a bargain. And they could have been, up until here recently, where some of these pairs are topping these markets. But you put 15, 14, 15, $1,600 given on a calf, and it's relative to that $4,000 cow calf pair that people are paying for right now. You're going to basically pay that initial investment in 2.5 calves. So if you think about it, it's all relative. The bull market, we still have the mindset of people wanting inexpensive bulls, or cheap bulls, if you want to call them. Bulls are not cheap anymore. The market on bulls is where we've been talking about, well over $1 for any kind of bull that has some fleshing ability or has flesh present, that the meat buyers are putting into the consumer chain. These bulls are selling for high right now. I had one person told me they sold a Brahman bull, I think it was last week or the week before, that it went over $1.40 a pound. And that's not customary, but I think the meat packers are meeting the demand of these higher yielding aged animals, where they're trying to get away from the cost of the feed in the feedlot situation. So I'm sure Lee will go into depth on that. But as far as management, it's going to be calf working time soon, of these winter-born calves. And talked to one producer here recently that that's all getting lined out, and get with the vet client relationship with your local veterinarian. That's going to be one of the only sources. A lot of your feed stores and feed supply stores may not have the vaccines you need. A lot of your vet clinics can have those in a reasonable time, in a 2 to 4 day period, given you provide that your needs to them. They'll have your dewormers and vaccines in hand pretty quick. So start planning for that, and get your bulls tested. Again, those non-productive cows that we've been harping on for the last 3 or 4 months here, if they don't have a calf in production inside of there, it's time to take her to town, because it's you just spending money on her at home, that she's out of sync with your production of your herd. So with that being said, fertilizer prices are fairly stable right now, but as we move into fertilizer and herbicide applications, it's time to get that started. A lot of people are working on equipment, getting things in order for the spring and summertime. We've been having these periodic rainfall events, from in areas, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch up to 3 inches in some areas of our region. And last week when that weather came through, so it's kind of kept a lot of field work at bay, especially on the crop side, as well as pasture work. But it'll get right here soon, as we get some heat and some temperature going, as Easter is past us now, and generally we start to see more of a summer effect, or the backside of our springtime getting into summer. So hopefully we have a better summer and fall than we did last year, and we get the production out of our hay fields and pastures that we need. So I'll close with that.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
I do want to remind everyone, y'all probably all got the email from Brian Gilty about the worker protection standard training that he's offering April 4th. It's an online option. We've been harping and preaching to this, and I think our regulatory piece, the LDAF, has kind of been doing some spot checking on workers and handlers at the farm level and at some custom application locations about handlers and workers being certified. And if your people have not been, it's probably a good idea that you either seek out that certification to have that endorsement, where you can do it at the farm level, or have one of us or somebody that is certified WPS trainer to get your workers and handlers trained, because that could come with some form of a citation, or at best a warning to start. But we certainly want to keep everybody up to speed on education and what they need to know as far as pesticide safety. And now I'll close.
Perfect. Thank you. Tripp, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Hi, I want to thank y'all very much for having me. Vince, that was a great update you gave there. A lot of the climate stuff carries over. Guys, we've had a very very favorable springtime for forage growth. And it's been a wonderful thing to get to see. Our producers definitely needed that reprieve after the struggling through the summer that we had last year. Right now, I'm seeing in a lot of places the grass is actually outpacing the cattle, so producers are having to make decisions on what they're going to do with it. Fortunately, like Vince alluded to, we do have several producers in our area that are equipped with wrapping capabilities. So we've been having a few people putting up a little bit of haylage. But like I said, that's not a super widespread practice. I wish that was something we could see more of. That way, on years like this, people could really capitalize on the grass and forages that they have on site. But we've had a few people put up a little bit of haylage. You're going to see that kind of shutting down though over the next couple of weeks because we've got a pretty good bit of rain coming in the area. Looks like over the next 2 weeks, thinking out of the next 10 days, out of the next 14, we've got 30% or better chance of rain. So it's a pretty good chance we could get decently soggy up this way. Then again, it could come through in one front and they change their mind about what the next 14 days is going to look like. So this time of year, you're really rolling the dice on the weather. Vince mentioned the bull market. I've seen from a couple of regional seed stock producers sale prices were very strong this year. You know, I got to think about it the other day. It wasn't long ago, $2,500 or 3,000 would get you a new herd bull. Now that's what cull bulls are bringing. So the cull bull market is pretty outstanding at the moment. And Lee, I'm certain will dig into that a little bit more whenever he gives his update. One last thing to wrap up on. There are a few cows being worked through the countryside up in our part of the world. It's important, guys, to have a vet relationship, a veterinarian that you can work with and will help you with your herd health protocols and your plans moving forward. It's always better to have that relationship ahead of time whenever you don't need it. So that's something all extension personnel are pretty big advocates of, and you'll hear us speak about oftentimes is finding a vet you can work with and have a good relationship with and somebody that you trust whenever you get ready to work cows and want recommendations and can help you get the medicines that you need. Guys, that is about all I have for my Northeast region update.
Thank you. Y'all are making it simple. Lee, go ahead for our Northwest and our markets, please, sir.
Thank you all. Glad to be with you all here today. It has been a Monday all along and April Fool's Day, and I played the part of a fool more than once today, I can tell you that. Ditto to what everything Tripp and Vince said as far as the weather. It's maybe a touch dry Northwest Louisiana, possibly just a little bit. Got some rain coming up tonight, I believe, and on into this next week. So looking forward to that. It's not very dry, especially compared to what we experienced last fall and summer for sure. A little bit of hay being put up, and as the Tripp and Vince both stated, it's mostly baleage. Not a lot of folks getting into the dry hay game. Talked to a good friend of ours down in Red River Parish earlier today, and he was telling me that they were dry baling some ryegrass. I asked him how it was curing, and he said very slowly. But he said he was getting it cured, and they're going to put it up today in preparation for tonight's rain event. As moving forward, I think in the next week or two, get past these rain events, get these temperatures up just a little bit. You're going to see a lot more people jump off into the dry baling side of things. Baleage is an important tool to be used, but we've talked about baleage quite a bit on these reports, and also in our Beef Brunch webinars, we brought it up a good bit there. There's a lot of misconceptions regarding baleage, and when I deal with producers, I tend to hear two misconceptions of note, I guess, as I stumble through this. One is they think that they can take just a mixed bag of winter weeds, bale it up, and put it into a tube, wrap it or put it into a tube, and it comes out as alfalfa quality hay, and that's simply not true. The expression we use when we're referring to baleage is trash in, trash out. That's generally what we refer to it as. But the second thing, a misconception that I think a lot of people get is they think that by buying a wrapper and all the technology needed to put up high moisture hay, that they can go behind the cutter essentially and bale it just directly behind the cutter. There are a few instances on into the summertime, especially on your warm season grasses, Bermuda in particular, where if the conditions are right, you can almost bale behind the cutter. But in most cases, you do have to dry down. Shooting for that 40 to 60% moisture level on that, and that's kind of takes some practice to be able to get to where you can hit that. But those are the two big misconceptions that I see producers making whenever they're talking about baleage, and so on and so forth. Get back on track here. Yes, this market is very hot, folks. I mean, I'm astounded, like Vince is, that there are any cattle left out in the country. We know that we're seeing some ryegrass cattle and some other winter forage cattle that are coming off early. We know that we've seen that. I've talked to producers that are doing that. I've talked to some guys that are, on an early fall calving season, that are actually marketing some fall calves early, just because of that, because of these exorbitant prices on these lightweight calves. If you follow the markets very closely, you'll know that between last week and today, we have experienced somewhat of a hiccup. And whenever I give the market report, it's not going to reflect that, because the market report is taking into account everything in the past. We really didn't experience significant hiccups until later in the week last week and on into today. The futures market is on, as it's trading today, is trading down considerably. I don't think we're dealing with a total train wreck of a market. Simply put, we're too high for it to be a train wreck this early on. With being in these record high territories, it got a long way to fall before it gets down into what we would term as to a bearish market for sure. But I do think we're seeing just a slight market correction right now. There's a lot of reasons why, and I could really spend 30-45 minutes expounding on what I feel like it is versus what we actually know about the market. But just you all know, if you've listened to this report very long, I've said repeatedly that what goes up must come down. Don't forget the lessons of 2015. I don't think the market's busting. I think we're just seeing some ebbs and flows. It's not a bull market 100% of the time for sure. So with that being said, I'll jump right into the report. I'll give you what we saw in the past 2 weeks. So on the 5 to 6 weight steers, 500, 600 pound steers, the average of the market reports was $2.10 to $3.08 per pound. 5 to 6 weight heifers, $1.90 to $2.76 per pound. Cull cows, 99 cents to $1.42 per pound. Cull bulls, $1.20 to $1.55. The average of the high prices on bred cattle was $2,218.75 each, and pair cattle, $2,550 each. Now for the important percent change between this report and last report. On the 5 to 6 weight steers, we saw a 3.18% increase. 5 to 6 weight heifers, a 2.46% increase. Cull cows, 10% increase, folks. And cull bulls, 7.8% increase. As I stated before I gave this market report, just know that they may change a little bit as we factor in these market corrections we've been experiencing in the last week or so. I've talked to a couple of friends of mine that are in the industry, and so far they hadn't seen the effects of a drop in futures market. They haven't really played out in the cash market. They reported some cash sales on local livestock auctions be just a touch lower, maybe steady to maybe a touch lower, but we'll see what the market data shakes out to be next time. Vince or Tripp mentioned, maybe both of them mentioned a couple of production sales, and just we always like to advertise those and give a heads up to those that are coming up, those around the area that we feel like cattle producers can really benefit from. And so I want to call everybody's attention to the fact that the Louisiana Beefmaster Association is going to be having their annual sale on April the 6th. It's going to be in Kinder. More information available on their website. And also the week after that, the Louisiana Polled Hereford Association is having a sale. That's going to be April 13th. That's going to be in Mansfield, and their catalog's up on their website too. I checked it before we got on to record this news update. A couple of our events coming up. Ashley and I will be hosting an AI class at the Hill Farm Research Station in Homer on April the 10th through the 12th. We do have 1 or 2 spots available, folks. So we really hadn't marketed this AI class much. We've talked about it on this news update, but we had such a interest list that we didn't really push to get the word out to as much as we have in the past. But this is your chance, folks. We have 1 or 2 spots available. If you're interested, please get in touch with one of us, and we'll get you all the registration information. Final thing, we've got our Northwest Region Beef and Forage Field Day coming up on April the 25th. It's going to be at the Red River Research Station there in Bossier City. Got an action-packed agenda put together for you all, and we've started getting that out through email and also on social media. If anybody's interested or has any questions, you can let me know. And with that being said, I hope you have a good day and good April.
Thank you, sir. So yes, in terms of events, I think we've mentioned almost all of these before, so I'll go through my list, and guys, y'all pop on if I missed something. But BQA certification in Raceland, Randi Toups is coordinating that. It's going to be on April 10th. That should be next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Contact her ASAP if you have not already to get signed up for that. I'm not sure what her cutoff date is for it, but she does need a head count for meals. Lee mentioned the AI class next week, April 10th through the 12th. I do have the Hill Farms phone number there, so you can always reach out to either of us. Our contact information is floating around on here as well. But if you call the Hill Farm, talk to Miss Kathy, see if those spots are available still or not. Lee mentioned the Northwest Beef and Forage Field Day, Red River Research Station in Bossier City, starting at 8:30. So to give you a few of those topics, we have a cattle market update and outlook, pasture sprayer options, forage options, managing anaplasmosis and general herd health, heat stress, and then a producer panel for marketing cattle, so marketing live cattle. So a great lineup of topics there coming up on April 25th. Tripp has a BQA certification that he's mentioned a couple of times. That's going to be on April 29th at 6 p.m. at the Scott Center in Winnsboro. I've got that address listed here. He has requested that you RSVP by April 15th to him, and his contact information is listed as well. And then looking forward into May, on Friday, May 10th, Josh Salley and the DeSoto Parish Cattlemen's Association is hosting a beef and forage field day at the Branch Ranch in Mansfield. They're asking that you pre-register with Josh by May 3rd for a meal count, and I have his information there too. I believe that one kicks off at 8:30 and goes until lunch. With that, I think that's all that we have for, oh wait, no, I lied. One more thing. We are currently working on scheduling Advanced Master Cattlemen. I'm waiting on a couple of the speakers to confirm dates so that we can finalize those. We are looking at starting in May, the middle of May. So it'll be a pretty fast turnaround on registration. There's 4 total workshops for that. The first 2 are at the Southeast Research Station. The third one will be at the West Baton Rouge Parish Extension Office. And the 4th one is on campus, or at Central Research Station there on campus. So all 4 of those, they're different content at each one. So you attend all 4 to graduate as an Advanced Master Cattleman. If you are interested in that, go ahead and send me an email. Again, my contact information is always in the video and podcast description. Send me an email so I can go ahead and get you on the list so that I can get you the flyer and the registration information as soon as we have that finalized. I see Vince is raising his hand. So Vince, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone if we're starting a Master Cattleman program in Opelousas on the 11th, which is next Thursday, the 11th. So if you have an interest in that, Brittany's not with us today because she's out of town on leave, but I think we would probably still take some registrations for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley. I know y'all have talked about it in detail, but we have, I think, around 20 in the class right now, and we probably entertain more registrations if need be. So if you have an interest, reach out to me or Brittany's Onbreaker, and we can help you get the information you need if you would like to attend.
Yes, and I do have the link for the Master Cattleman Program classes listed because Dr. Donna Gentry is starting one in August, so her flyers and that information is up as well as Brittany's. So you can go ahead and get a hold of her because I don't think that she has a specific cap. I think the meeting room was large enough. So just get with her so she can go ahead and make sure the meal counts are accurate for next week. Now I think that's all we have for today. So we'll be back with y'all in just a couple of weeks.